Book of Boba Fett episode 5 just dropped on Disney Plus today. And it's the best episode of the season so far, but that's because it's not an episode of this show. And let's get into it. Spoilers here. So in this episode, we have the return of Mando. Boba Fett does not even appear in this episode, which I love this episode. But it's not an episode of the show. And I think that it shows what's wrong with the show. And if they don't do a certain thing that I'll talk about at the end of this review, it's going to really piss a lot of people off. So, Mando returns in this episode. And, the show's been not very clear about indicating when a flashback starts and ends right off the jump. And then you slowly realize when something's a flashback, of course. We knew at the first episode that there was a flash that, Boba Fett getting out of the Sarlacc pit, that's a flashback. Some of the other ones have been less clear, less indicated, right? This one is very clear not a flashback because we see Mando with the spear, which, we know that he got that in season 2, towards the end of it, right? And, so Mando's going to do his bounty thing, which I really like this, because he's doing his normal bounty thing that we saw at the beginning of season 1, but it's also there's a different approach to it. First of all, he is more vicious because he has the Darksaber. He's slicing and dicing these people, but at the end of it, he goes to the people and goes, "Hey, your boss is dead. You want his credits. You guys can help yourself to these credits that I'm not entitled to. You guys can figure out what you want to do about it amongst yourselves." Which shows that Grogu did have an impact on him, which is that while he's still bounty hunter guy, he is a lot kinder in his approach and isn't just like, get rid of this guy. Which I kind of like, because the thing about bounty hunting is a lot of these people are not good people to begin with. They suck, right? That's why they have bounties on their heads. So, Mando in the show is, kind of hunting down some of these people who are bad, for the most part. I like that approach. I thought it was an interesting dynamic from what we saw in this first season. But anyways, he gets injured, he goes back, and we realize that all the Mandalorians that we saw in Chapter 1 towards the end of it are dead. And that comes as a really big shock. But we have Vizsla guy, and we have the Armorer still alive. And this is where we start to get exposition about Mandalorian kind, what that means. So, we actually get a flashback to the Night of Tears and what exactly that was, and realizing that Bo-Katan actually failed her own kind, caused the death of Mandalore and things like that, and holy shit, it's like, oh, that's a big oof right there. And then we see that more exposition about the Darksaber, where it comes from, and then Pre-Vizsla, Mandalorian guy, they fight it out. Mando still gets the Darksaber, which was kind of expected, because obviously that's where season 3 is going. So I like all this stuff. Then we go to Tatooine, and actually I should mention, Mando gets a little gift for Grogu, has a little spear, melts him down, which kind of sucks. I really enjoyed him with that spear, but alright, because it's like, what's he gonna after the Darksaber is given up, because it's obviously that's going back to Bo-Katan, Mando's not gonna have a spear, so it's like, oh, okay, all of his new weapons are kind of gone, which is kind of sucks, but alright. But they melt down the spear as a gift for Grogu, and so moves into the next part of this, which I got less engaged by. Basically, Mando comes to this planet, Tatooine, and he gets a new ship, because the Razor Crest is obviously gone. The ship is damaged, though. It's like an old ship that we saw from, the Phantom Menace, which is cool. Kind of callback, but, I don't know, I just didn't get engaged with their these characters banter about fixing the ship, but that was just a personal thing. But it's still entertaining for what it was. So then we get to that, and then Mando takes it for test drive, and we see some Republic officers questioning Mando, and now he might get in trouble for previous actions. So I'm curious to see what happens with that. Then we have the part of this episode where Mando goes back with the ship back to Tatooine, and then he's recruited. He is recruited by Fennec Shand to be like, Boba needs your help, and if he's Mando, they offer to pay him. Mando's like, hey, he's on the house, I'll help you guys out. But he says, I gotta do something first. I gotta go deliver a gift, which is the gift to Grogu. So this is where I'm getting to my criticisms. If they do not show the Grogu gift-giving scene and show him where Grogu's at, everyone's pissed off. Next week, you're going to hear a lot of damn complaints that if it just skips past the Grogu gift-giving thing. If that is not a thing that is in this episode, in next week's episode, everyone is going to be pissed, including myself. Because you're not going to be able to fit that into Mandalorian Season 3, because Mandalorian Season 3, we see where all these directions are going to take that next season. And what I'll say about it is, like, it doesn't make sense timeline to put that as Mandalorian Season 3. We know that Mandalorian Season 3 is going to have a clear focus on Mandalore, all that type of stuff. We know that, especially from this episode. So it doesn't make sense for that to be timeline-wise put into that episode. So if we do not see Grogu in the next episode or the last episode of this season, no one gives a shit. And that's what's wrong with this episode, is that no one gives a shit. Mandalorian is great, and we love seeing him, and everyone's excited about this episode, but it isn't because Boba Fett's got us all this engaged, and we're just so excited about next week's episode. We're only excited for Mandalorian stuff, and that's what I'm annoyed by. Basically, they took what would have been, what Boba Fett feels like is one of those Star Wars books, like a Captain Phasma book, or whatever, that is about a very famous character, adds all this backstory, and some of the fan base likes it, some of it doesn't, but it doesn't matter, because you don't have to read it, you know? But it seems like they adapted one of those books, except this isn't based on a book, obviously, I'm just saying it feels like that, right? And it feels like they took that book, and they said, let's make this a show, and it was fine as a book, as an extra piece of content for those who want to read it, but it's annoying as a TV show because, you know, this is replacing Mandalorian Season 3. Right now, we should be watching Mandalorian Season 3, not Boba Fett. And I know there's people who are enjoying the show, cool. I don't give a shit. Because I don't care if you're enjoying the show or not. I'm happy for you if you are, but, like, this is still not that good of a show. It still has a lot of issues, and it doesn't really have a story I'm engaged in. And I feel like if I was reading this in a book, I'd be more accepting to it. But knowing that this is replacing Mandalorian Season 3, not actually. We're getting Mandalorian Season 3. It's shooting, all that type of stuff, right? We know that's happening. But I'm just saying, like, there's now this delay for Mandalorian. It's gotten shut down multiple times for filming. It's had multiple delays. All kinds of stuff. And you're just sitting there like, come on. I want Mandalorian Season 3. And I don't like this show that's like in the middle of it because it's not engaging. I'm not interested in Boba Fett's shitty crime wars. Okay, like, sure, maybe they'll have like a great finale by the end of this, but it doesn't make up for the slog that the show was to get through. Because even if it has a really great finale that ties everything together, whatever, by the end of it, I'm still going to be like, I don't really want to rewatch these episodes. I rewatch The Mandalorian all the time. I'm not going to ever want to rewatch this show, even if it has a great finale. If it has a great finale, I'll probably just watch the damn finale over and over again. I won't be watching this show as a whole again. I can see myself watching this episode again as like just more Mandalorian content. right? But I'm not gonna watch Boba Fett again because the show isn't interesting, it's not engaging, it's boring, it doesn't look as good as Mandalorian does. It's just nothing. And I'm really just frustrated by the show's existence because, all of us were expecting some, kind of hang on for like season 3 at the end of Mandalorian. Instead, we got Boba Fett's coming, and we're all like, what? Like, I know there were fans going, oh, we're excited, but I think a lot of fans were also like, what? What is this? I know that my grandpa, who's not a big Star Wars fan, we used to watch Mandalorian all the time together before he moved away. It was like, oh, this show's just not. He just was like, all right, they're doing a Boba Fett thing. I think I'll watch it, but he didn't seem excited, and I think that's the unfortunate thing. I'm hoping that the show can pick up the momentum next couple episodes, give us something interesting, but it still doesn't make up for the wasted time the show was, to me. It just doesn't.